All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a good day so far. We're here with head coach David Scott, and we'll let him start with an opening statement.
Good morning. Injury news. Caillou Kelly and Miles Hinton look like they will be returning this week. Positive work by those guys last night. Feel good about them getting back into action this week. Looks like Walter Rouse and Levi Rogers will most likely be out this week. If that's the case, we'll decide where Miles and Jack Lair will play. Who play right and who play left. We'll decide that in the next day or so. And Drake Metcalf would start at guard if Levi is out for sure. And Drake's had a great training camp, has been ready. He's been ready at center at guard, and now he'll get his chance to start this weekend. As for the game, all I'll say is two things. One is, closest to a complete game we've played all year. Just didn't finish it. Had a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter. And I got to find a way in all three phases to put the game away. So as much as that game was difficult, as much as that game was painful at the end, I refuse to look past the positives. A lot of the things that our leadership group wanted to see this week happened. A lot of things that, them and the coaches really communicated on about our aggressiveness and things we wanted to do were really positive. So we're going to extract those positives, push those things forward, get on the road and play against a good Notre Dame team on their turf with the guys that are healthy. And we're going to go battle and try to find a way to get in that fourth quarter and finish the game. I'll take questions.
Thank you. Please use the raise hand function on Zoom. And we'll start with Steve.
Yeah, Coach, Saturday night after the game, you were saying, how difficult you thought Monday's practice, yesterday's practice was going to be. How difficult was it, or maybe was it better than you thought it might have been?
There's still a little residual pain from our guys, and a lot of bumps and bruises anyway. And but our players are resilient, and I've said this many times before, and our guys never cease to amaze me. But they're young people are sometimes more resilient than the old people. They are youthful and they're excited about this next challenge. I think they're responding to what we're going to do in practice this week, Tuesday and today and tomorrow. Our last team period will be a walkthrough. So we're going to take 2 team periods this week off of their legs. Physical game last week, late night game last week, long travel. So we're working on a couple things to make sure we get our legs back for Saturday night. And I think the guys are responding, and they're excited to go play.
Ben?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, it's been, since the Oregon game last year that you guys beat an FBS school. Any kind of sense of guys just needing the confidence to figure out how to win a game again? And also on top of that, a sense that if you guys get one, that you can start rallying off a couple. Sometimes the team needs that first win, and once you kind of get that, then that can build momentum. Just any thoughts on that analysis there that I gave?
Absolutely. That's the big part, is find a way to close the door. You got a team down by 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and got to find a way to make it 3 scores. Got to find a way to shut them out. So those are things that, come next after getting to the point where we're playing really well and getting the lead and playing with excitement and energy and passion and fire for each other. And then you got to finish the game. So that's the next step for this team. And I also agree 100%. I've been saying it since the beginning. This team just needs to taste it. They need a taste of what it takes to win and finish that. And we can create some momentum. It's, and just hope you guys aren't well, regardless if you are or not, I'm tired of me saying the same thing. Our good is really good. You see the pressure we put on the quarterback last week, tight coverage last week. You saw explosive plays. You saw a great pass pro and quarterback making some great throws, especially going to his left, and guys making plays down the field. Casey Filkins running hard between the tackles and making guys miss. And so our good is really good. And we can finish the game with a victory and create some momentum. Who knows what could happen.
Thank you, Ben. Troy?
Yeah, two things if I can. First, a couple guys that didn't get a chance to play last week, Caleb Robinson and Bryce Farrell. Any update on those guys?
Caleb's been out with an injury. We're hoping that he comes back this week. Should be in practice tonight, hopefully. I know he's ran with the trainers last night, and hopefully he's healthy and will give us some needed depth at the running back position. Bryce Farrell is with us and ready when called upon. We'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Okay. Going back to the game on Saturday and afterwards, you said that on that third down play on the final drive that you felt very strongly about that call. Can you take us back through the things that led up to it and what made you guys feel so strongly about making that play call in that situation?
Yeah, we had used Ashton on a couple different plays that were all efficient, and giving us that run pass option, or run option with the quarterback position. He's such a good athlete, tough runner, physical young man that we'd done it in training camp, and we'd been picking our spots throughout the last couple of games to give him those opportunities. And it was a tough down. They had the perfect call for that play, and it's the difference between their guy making a play and if Ashton was able to shake loose there was nobody left, and he could have run it in. So they were aggressive with their call, and they made the play, but feel good about the way it was blocked, and it was a one-on-one opportunity, and their guy made a good play.
Thank you, John.
Coach, anything you mentioned at the time with your remarks that as a result of the meetings, a lot of things happened in the game that were talked about in the meetings that were wanted to be seen. You mentioned aggressiveness and crispness. Anything more specific than that you want to share?
Not necessarily. I just think that we went out there to execute a game plan, and our guys played with passion and fire and desire that we needed them to. I thought we called an aggressive game, offensively, defensively, and special teams. And our guys went out there and played great, just for, that fourth quarter. We gotta finish the game. We trained for it. Our guys were in shape for it. That comes back to execution and playmaking. And, always there's a couple things as a coach, anything that doesn't work, you'd love to wish you called something else. But as a team, as a staff, as a group of players, we have to finish games like that and find a way. And that's something that we haven't done recently. And I think we've got the guys to do it. I think we have the mentality to do it. Now we got to go out there and be in a tight game and finish in the fourth quarter on top.
Troy?
You mentioned that the student athletes oftentimes can be a bit more resilient than some of the older people in the building. What has the mood been like amongst the coaching staff so far this week?
We're coaches, we're going to correct the correctables. Disappointed in the loss, but at the same time, it's up to us to gather the troops and get them back on the game plan for the following week, and put guys in position to make plays. Who's healthy, who's not healthy. So our coaching staff, we work really well together, and we're ready to get back after it on the field today.
John?
Did a little bit more on Tanner McKee and the throws when he's going to his left, and not a lot of quarterbacks can do that and get the zip and make a window throw, such as the touchdown to Bryson. Can you sort of speak to that, the difficulty of that, and the talent that Tanner McKee has with that?
Yeah, I think this phrase is given to too many guys that he can make all the throws. This guy can make all the throws. The down the field throws, you saw the trajectory, putting it in there, the high, jump ball outside on the outside shoulders, perfect throw. The throw to Mike Wilson going to his left, over the DB's head and right on the sidelines. Hit Elijah down the middle between defenders. I think as it's been said, and we talked about this, the PFF stuff is what it is, but when he's in a clean pocket, this guy's one of the best in America, and got to keep keeping him clean, giving those opportunities to make those plays. And we know that we've got the receivers and tight ends. Gosh, 2 throws he made to Ben were outstanding as well. One on the move and one from the pocket right down the middle, second play of the game. When clean, this guy can make all the throws, and still believe he's one of the best in America.
Dave? Keeper.
Thanks, Coach. I was wondering if Charlie Meyer is going to make the trip, and also if you've ever had a chance to talk to his dad about that 92 game.
Charlie will be on the trip. He's excited. Told him yesterday. He's fired up. He went to high school down in SoCal, but a lot of his life was spent in the Midwest, and he's excited to go back there. And I've had good conversations with Rick, never specifically about that game, but I've always had a lot of respect for Rick and the way that he's operated as a quarterback, and now as a dad. He and his wife have raised an outstanding son, and excited Charlie's on our team, and he's excited to be on the trip.
We'll go to another Dave Raymond.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. You were talking about the clean pocket for Tanner, and it seemed like in that game last week, and that might have been the best that you guys have protected the quarterback this season. I'm curious if, number one, if that's accurate, you felt that way. And number two, if there's any trade-off with the run game that is necessary with a line, the identity being so much to pound the football over the years. The last couple of weeks have been a little harder to get the same kind of yardage and production. But I'm wondering if there's a pay or a trade-off at all there when you maybe had to focus more to protect the QB.
Well, our focus is always to be balanced and be able to run the ball with efficiency and protect the passer, so we can be efficient passing the ball and knowing that our explosives will come when they come. I don't know that we've overemphasized one more than the other. Early in the year, we had a tough time protecting the passer at times, and we're rattling off a couple 100-yard rushers in EJ and Casey Filkins. There's always that balance, and there are things that teams do to take certain things away, and whatever they take away, they give you an opportunity to do something else. So, I think that's still our goal, is to always try to be balanced and make sure that we can be efficient running the ball, give our runner a chance to get through the line of scrimmage, and then, combination of our slow mesh, RPOs, and then pure dropbacks and play actions, that we give the opportunity for the quarterback to be efficient with the potential for explosiveness.
Ben?
Yeah, just switching gears to the Irish, looking ahead to that matchup, just kind of broad general thoughts on that and thoughts on their team. And it looks like they've kind of figured some stuff out. Just what are your thoughts on that matchup and things that you guys have to do well to get the win in South Bend?
Yeah, they're on the defensive side. They're big and they're physical. Got a couple of marquee players in their front seven, long and athletic, and secondary. They put pressure on a couple different ways. The 4-man rush is tough. A lot of press man-to-man coverage. They'll mix up the coverages. They'll mix up the pressures. Inside linebackers are big and physical when they pressure you. On the offensive side, I know they sputtered a little bit early on, but it's a quarterback had to come out, but they found their efficiency. They're getting the ball to their athletes, but they're running the ball well, keeping you off balance with their play calling. So they found their stride, and they're on a nice little run.
John?
Coach, other than the travel, what to you is unique about playing it at Notre Dame? You have a unique experience having done it as a player and obviously assistant coach and for a lot of years as a head coach. What does playing at Notre Dame Stadium mean to you?
One thing it means to me is that there've been a lot of exciting games that we played there, and have been fortunate enough to win multiple times in that stadium. Tight games, difficult games with a lot of really good football players, and I'm excited to see this group. I want to say we've got a couple marquee players as well that want to come and have a chance to play extremely well on national TV. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of fire. I know we've got a couple of guys injured, a couple of guys out. But at the same time, hey, we got to fill guys in and give ourselves a chance to go there and play our best football, and hopefully our best football game of the year.
Jackson?
They've gone through a coaching change over the offseason and replaced their quarterback already early in the year. Just what are some of the similarities or differences you see from the team you saw last November?
I think the structure of the defense, as the head coach was the defense coordinator last year. Some familiarity there. Offensively a little bit different. But part of that always has to do with the personnel that you have and the quarterback that you have. But I think what we just said a little while ago, they're playing hard, they're playing fast, they're being aggressive, and trying to put pressure on you in all three phases and make you react to what they're doing. For us, that's going to be the battle. We have to find ways to impose our will and find ways to try to make them react to what we're doing. So I think it's going to be a heck of a football game. It's going to be physical, and hopefully we find a way to get to where we were last game, to where it's a one-score game in the fourth quarter, and see if we can finish on top.
Dave Keeper?
Coach, was Stephon Taylor in?
The first time, absolutely. The rules have changed since then. And there's more of a mandate to review every goal line play. And he was in, I believe it was first down. He was in on first down. It did not get reviewed. The other rule change is crews working together. That was a mixed crew. So the people in the box weren't used to working with the people on the field. So there was a lack of communication there. And I feel that the statute of limitations has passed where I can speak freely about this, because I've had multiple conversations with multiple people over the years. Some people I haven't sought out, they've sought me out, including some of the guys that were working in the truck, working in the van during that looked at those, and they insisted. I didn't even push. They insisted that Stephon was in. So, but at the same time, as I say that, he was in, and we would have been interesting to see how the rest of the game finished. That game also sparked us to go on a run. I don't think we lost a game, and maybe lost one game the rest of that year, and on our way to the Rose Bowl. So, as I sit here in difficult times with where we are in the season, there are a lot of times where one play or one game can spark a run in your team, and that's what we're hopefully looking forward to this weekend.
Steve?
Yeah, Coach, kind of piggybacking a little bit off of John's previous question, and you've talked in the past about how Stanford has a number of rivals. Obviously, there's a rivalry with Cal, there's a rivalry with USC. In recent years, there's been one with Oregon. How does the Notre Dame rivalry differ and not differ with, say, the rivalry with Cal and the rivalry with USC?
Yeah. To me, this rivalry is a little bit different, right? We're not in the same conference, but we choose to play each other every year. There's an academic standard that both places have. There's a character, a high character element on each football team. There's an appreciation for what each campus does. And not to mention, there's an appreciation for the history of both football programs. And there have been times where we've won back-to-back games, or times where they've won back-to-back games, or times where we've split times back and forth, or times where we would win at Notre Dame and they would win at Stanford. So there's been all different kinds. There's been one-score games. There's been a difficult game like you talked about, where we left that game feeling a certain kind of way. And there's a game where we came back and got the ball with less than 20 seconds and hit 2 plays and kicked the game-winning field goal. So games have been back and forth, hotly contested. But at the same time, I think the alumni bases of both places really appreciate this game, and they come out in force. So we'll have a lot of Stanford people out there that are on the East Coast and Midwest. And I think both fan bases, both alumni bases really appreciate this rivalry.
We're going to take 2 more, Troy, and then John will wrap us up.
Controversial officiating decisions in South Bend that go for Notre Dame. That never happens. And yeah, Stefan was in that first down. Going back, having had a chance to watch the tape more fully now from that Saturday night, the result, the defensive line and its better production against the Beavers. What sort of things specifically went into that, and how can they keep it going this week against the Irish?
For me, it was great team defense. The coverage made the quarterback hold the ball. We got edge pressure, which kind of goes unnoticed because, some of the plays were made by the defensive line, but the quarterback stepped up. And when he stepped up, that's where Tobin got him. And so the pressure that we got from Stephen and David Bailey and from Aaron Armitage in particular, making the quarterback step up, and the pressure that we got from the middle is really what you want to have. Is you constrict the pocket on the quarterback. Thought our guys played hard, but more important, I thought they played really good team defense.
John, take us home.
Coach, about the scripted plays, I thought, obviously it really worked for you. Great result. I'm just kind of curious. So there's, like you say, you play a lot of opponents year after year. Are there certain teams that you find that the scripted plays click more often than other opponents, or is it just sort of random this particular game? Hey, it really worked in this particular game, not so much.
Yeah, there's an it's kind of like a matrix, but in the matrix, everything's changing. So what we call, depending on what they call, our level of execution versus their level of execution, the matchup that we get here, the matchup that they get there. But I do think our guys came out with a great focus and the energy. We jumped the ball a couple times, ran some plays that we knew, went out there and executed. Two of the things we've been trying to emphasize the last couple of weeks, keeping Ben Urasic more involved, getting Bryson Tremaine more involved. So as we got through, especially early in the game, all of our guys that we wanted to touch the ball got a chance to touch it. Casey had a couple nice runs and a catch. Bryson had a nice one on the sidelines. We got Mike involved. Elijah came and made a big play. So getting all those guys involved is a big part of us being able to move the ball with some efficiency, especially early in games. And like I said, we haven't been as good at it recently, but it was great to see this week, and hopefully we'll continue that process of keeping all of our playmakers involved and moving the ball, especially early in games, and giving our team a chance to play with a lead.
Thank you, Coach.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
All right, we are back with kicker Josh Karty. We'll take questions. Then, quick as can be.
Yeah, special teams is kind of my thing. I like special teams. Josh, just talk about, the mentality that you approach with each game and how you knock down the kicks that you make and just stay calm and collected. It's like golf, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah, thank you. I've been talking and working a lot with Coach Alomar, special teams coordinator, about kind of my mental approach going into the season. And something that I've been kind of focusing on especially is just keeping the mindset going into each and every game that it will come down to a field goal in the end, and staying ready no matter what. Even, kind of if a game doesn't look like it's going to come down to a field goal, just staying ready, believing that, we'll come back, or they'll come back, and it'll be a close game. It'll come down to me, and that I have the trust in my unit, my field goal unit, with Bailey, who's having a great season snapping, and Sandy, who I trust a lot, holding the ball, as well as my protection unit, just trusting everybody that we'll all do our jobs and put the ball through the pipes.
Troy?
Joshua, so much talk goes into offensive game planning and defensive game planning, but special teams has a game plan too every single week. What sort of things go into your game plan, especially in the kicking game, on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, so I would agree with you mostly with that. In general, special teams has a game plan that's vastly different going into each and every week. However, personally, from my standpoint, like last week versus Oregon State versus this week at Notre Dame, a 40-yard field goal is a 40-yard field goal. A kickoff is still from the 35-yard line. So for me, not a whole lot changes in my mentality from week to week, except for what I gather and reflect upon my own performance from the week before. And from that, I focus on things I need to get better at, and things that I want to spend more time on in the next week to improve upon my performance for the next game. But in general, I would say my personal game plan doesn't change a whole lot from week to week, even though for the most part, the special teams as a whole, their game plan, or our game plan, does change.
John?
Joshua, two questions, which are really the same question. Sort of late in a half, like with 20 seconds to go, Stanford has the ball on its own 30, own 35. Are you sort of getting yourself mentally ready for maybe that long kick? And then the related question is, this past Saturday night when, hey, there were 13 seconds left, but if Tanner completes a throw, to the Oregon State 48, then we're looking at 65. I mean, are you sort of getting yourself kind of revved up quickly? Tell us about sort of the end of half and the long kick scenario and how that all sort of plays out for you, or has played out for you.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely thinking about, when do we get into field goal range, especially when it comes to the end of a half or end of a game. And we almost had one or two scenarios last game of possibly getting close to that mark of being able to attempt a field goal. And yeah, so I think that I would love opportunities, especially deeper, 60 plus. Those are fun kicks to be able to attempt, especially when they mean something and they can be so powerful, like at the end of a half, changing the momentum for a team, or if it's the end of a game, then being able to win the game with the team. Just trying to be a weapon for the team and help us out, and being a tool for our team if we need it.
Thank you. Dave Keeper?
Yeah, hi, Josh. I don't want to jinx you or anything, but I believe you're perfect from inside the 40 in your college career. What is, I don't know if there's a secret there. Obviously, you feel really comfortable, and especially, within the 40, and I'm sure beyond that. But I'm just curious what goes into having that kind of consistency and, even on the PATs as well.
Yeah, that's just treating every kick the same, no matter if it's a PAT or if it's a 53-yarder. Until I get to about maybe 55, 56, 58, then I'll have to change certain aspects within my approach to the ball, trying to get a little more into it. Maybe if you guys have played golf before, if you really need a long shot, then you can change a couple of things. But for the most part, pretty much every single swing is the same swing with the same mindset of what I need to do to achieve a successful kick. Not necessarily focused on the outcome, but just trying to treat every kick with the same seriousness as kind of like a potential game-winning kick, so that when that time does come, I should be more ready for it.
Troy?
I'm looking at the forecast for South Bend for Saturday right now. High of 58, low of 40% chance of rain. So it's an evening game. So it's probably going to be a bit more on the chilly side, I would imagine. How does weather affect what you do, or does it affect how you approach things?
Yeah, no, I would say still for the most part, weather doesn't affect how I approach things a whole lot. Except for the only thing it would really change is in warm-ups in the stadium, maybe the wind's blowing a certain direction from one side and a different direction from the other side. So that's when I kind of really play with things and get adjusted enough feel for the stadium on that day with that weather and the winds. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little colder game. Unfortunately, I like a nice Stanford Stadium 75-degree weather game. But that just means the balls might be a little colder, and they may travel a yard or two less far. But I mean, that doesn't change really anything in my approach to the game or to the weekend. Look forward to an opportunity to put on a long sleeve shirt this weekend.
Ben?
Any kickers you grew up watching, studying, idolizing from the NFL that you kind of grew up saying, man, I want to be like that guy?
Yeah, no, good question. I actually didn't start following football until freshman year of high school when I started playing. So it's been, gosh, I guess 6 full years now of following football. So I can't say I really had a childhood like hero or star that I used to follow. But I have a couple of guys that I like in the league, and like maybe Matt Gay and Joey Sly and Robbie Gold, a couple of guys that I have trained with or I have been in touch with a little bit, but I like them a lot. But no, I wish I had a guy growing up to idolize, but didn't play football.
John?
Josh, we talked about the kicks that score points, but what about kickoffs? I think a lot of us are sort of neophytes on kickers, and we think, oh, the kicker's just going to hammer it. And you certainly can do that, but there's more to it than that, right? Sometimes you try to get under it and place it so that there will be a return. Kind of take us through what strategies on kickoffs are and how they might vary.
Yeah, so I mean, for the most part, we're a deep left kickoff team, and I try and place the ball, around the numbers or so, and at the end zone. And if it goes deep and it's a touchback, then great. They didn't return it. No chance for a long return, and no chance for any of our players getting hurt on kickoff, which is a valid concern for some teams. And yeah, there are a couple of times when we'll switch up and go a different direction or try and bait a return. I will say though, on the last kickoff of last game, I kind of made a mistake allowing a returnable kick at the very end of the game. Ended up Alakai Gilman saved my butt by making the tackle. But kind of a mishit. For the most part, if they don't return it, then great. We march our defense on the field and try and get it stopped.
We're going to wrap up with Dave Keeper.
John probably has a better question than I do, but if you want to go with John, that's okay.
Oh. Yeah, I wanted you made a tackle against Oregon State. I mean, there's some adventure with that, right? Robbie Gould for the 49ers made a tackle against Charlotte the Sunday game. Maybe you watched it and sustained a bit of an injury. Tell us about that tackle and kind of what your role is a safety valve, really a safety on kickoff to be the guy to make a tackle if necessary.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of the last one in the world who wants myself to have to make a tackle, because it probably means it wasn't a great kickoff, and it also means they made it through the first 10 guys, which is not good for our team as a whole. But yeah, we do practice some tackling drills in the specs room with Coach Alomar. So I feel like those really helped me get a feel for the situation. I benefited from those drills. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a little bit of a scenario where I can showcase a little bit of athleticism, maybe prove all the haters wrong, so that kickers can be a little athletic too. But yeah, and I just try and wrap up their ankles if I can, stay away from a big hit if possible, but just get them down at the end of the day.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we are back with Stephen Herron. We will take questions. Please use the raise hand feature on Zoom. Troy, you're up first.
Hey, Stephen, you're from New Albany, Indiana, opposite side of the state, but still your neck of the woods in some respects. So what does this week, or what does playing at Notre Dame mean to you?
Personally, this week is kind of just like another time to go home and experience playing in front of my family. I've only had that opportunity one time since being here. Freshman year, Notre Dame came here. I was redshirting. I didn't get to play in that game. Sophomore year, COVID year, we didn't have that game that year. And then last year I had the concussion. So for me, this is my first time playing Notre Dame at all. And then it's kind of just like another homecoming, kind of like what Vandy was last year for me. It feels great to go home, play in front of my family. I have probably honestly 30, 40, 50 people coming to this game. So it's really exciting for me. I get to see my grandparents who kind of struggle to get in and out to games out here. Seeing both of my parents get to come, and then nieces and nephews, coaches from high school. So it's kind of great. I'm really excited.
Ben.
Yeah, just talk about the Irish, their offense and what you've seen from them and what you guys as a defense are going to have to do to be successful.
Starting with Notre Dame, I mean, it's Notre Dame. It's not much to explain there. I mean, just because they're not ranked top 5 in the nation does not mean this is not a Notre Dame team. It's going to be a dogfight in there. You guys know how Notre Dame is, especially this time of the year. I was in the room when you kind of told Karty like the weather plans, weather forecast. It's just another day in Indiana for me. So just kind of got to go in there and you just got to attack them. We know their game plan. We got to come in with ours as a defense. And honestly, defensively, we just have to continue to, do our best to play complementary football. We got to stop the run. That's got to be first and foremost. Without doing that, we're not going to see the pass, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to win this game, especially in South Bend. So.
Troy.
Yeah, kind of along those lines, what went right for the front? What could have gone better for the front against Oregon State last week?
I think throughout the game as a whole, I think we set some good edges. I think we were good penetration. I just think that, in some of our most critical moments, we let up some big plays. Me personally, coming into the pass rush, I didn't have as many wins on my one-on-one rushes as I would have liked last week. I think our edges can be better in our pass rush. I think our interior lineman did a great job last week. Tobin came out with 2 sacks himself, maybe 2.5, honestly. Love that for him. We just have to see that same type of production along the line. David Bailey has been honestly, taking the slide away from me from time to time, especially when, he's in kind of at that spinner type of linebacker who's calling the blitzes and stuff like that. So, I mean, just continuing to set up new blitzes and confuse the offensive linemen and allow them to not pass off these games. And just really making sure that, is like I said before, if we can stop that run first and foremost, everywhere across the board, setting good edges, splattering pullers when they do pull, and down block, stuff like that, getting knocked back on these tight ends. Anytime that they swap boot, anything like that, bring something across the formation, just getting hands on these tight ends, receivers, and running backs who are trying to cloud our eyes. So just keeping our eyes in the right place and continuing just to play complementary football.
It seemed like the secondary at times was a bit more active as well in helping things out and securing the line of scrimmage. How much of that can be a factor going forward for Stanford?
I mean, I think that's a big factor. I think it's no secret that our secondary is one of our most athletic and most dominant groups that we have here at Stanford. So to see them be able to come up, fit in the run, I know it's not the most opportune thing from time to time. You do want to, want to be able to stop that run inside the box. I think with how our athletic and how physical our secondary is, I don't think that they mind too much. And honestly, it helps us a lot up front, being able to look into film and realize that I don't have to worry about trying to two gap alignment, like I have before, or, look inside my gap and pop back out, anything like that. I can trust the guys in the secondary coming up to fill that hole. And honestly, when they've been the one to fill it, there's only been a few mistakes. So I just think we clean those up. And, I can do my best by making as clear as possible for them up front, just staying outside, staying at my edge, whatever it may be, and letting them see exactly where they need to fit. And then I think it just leads us to the promised land.
Dave Raymond.
Yeah, Stephen, just kind of amateur scouting of Notre Dame, watching their games. Michael Meyer looks like he's a bit of a handful, their big tight end. And I'm just curious from your guys' perspective, do you see him as more difficult to handle in the run blocking schemes, or more of a handful when he's catching the ball and trying to get into the secondary?
Believe me, he is no slouch in the run game at all. He's got great run blocking. He runs his feet on contact. He knows how to roll his hips through contact as well. So I think honestly, for our front seven, I just think it's we have to go up. We have to strike him in that run game. And I think if we can strike him, I think we can put ourselves in some good positions. Pass wise, I mean, he's one of their biggest threats on offense. You do have to stop him. Without stopping him, you can't win this game, in my opinion. I do believe that their quarterback is, 87's kind of become their safety net. I think when he gets into a rough patch in the game, or, maybe he doesn't find his first read, the first thing he's looking for is him. So I think if we can stop him and we can take him away, I think it's going to give our D-line, our secondary chances to make plays in the back end. If we can get to the line, if we can get to the quarterback and get some pressure on him, get him uncomfortable, getting him off his spot and just really just stopping that primary connection is going to be really integral for us.
Dave Keeper.
Yeah, hi. How is the 4-3 taken shape this year? I know it's a little bit different from the past. How's that evolved? And do you guys feel like it's I don't know if you can evaluate kind of how that change has been, or that adjustment's been this year?
I mean, it's been different, it's been something, but I do think that it is better for our team. I think it's better for our personnel that we have, especially in that D-line room, moving to our edges. I think that our edge room, we've got guys like Aaron Armitage, Lance Kennelly, guys who are big enough to be able to play a true edge in that 4-3 without having to bring them down into two gap situations. I think we have enough D linemen up front. And while inexperienced in some ways, they have come along a lot through seeing them through camp and through spring ball, seeing how much strength they were able to gain and how they're able to really translate through that onto the field. I think the 4-3 has been very beneficial to our group of players. I think now it's just guys continuing to learn that, get bored with doing their job, and including me, just getting bored with doing your job, understanding the scheme and understanding that if everybody does their job, things are going to work out. We just have to continue to trust each other and build upon that trust.
Any other questions for Stephen? Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
The end of today's press conference. Thank you for attending.